Look at those clouds, they look so real. Even sunlight scatters through them. But how do those clouds actually work? We'll go step by step, and at each step we'll learn the basics we need to understand the whole topic. For many years, games used 2D clouds. They were simple to make and didn't need a lot of processing power. Some were baked into the sky's texture while others were flat textures that always faced the camera, but they never looked truly realistic. But nowadays, most video games use volumetric clouds. Unlike 2D clouds, volumetric clouds don't have a flat surface. They have volume and can interact with light. In the next section, we'll explore how volumetric clouds work. To understand how it works, you first need to know what 3D textures are. 2D textures have pixels along X and Y axis. 3D textures are similar, but they also have height or Z-axis. And if we move a 2D layer along Z-axis, we can see the 3D texture. And these 3D textures can be any shape, like a cloud, a fish, or even a ball. But using 2D pixels to show 3D textures doesn't really work. What we need are 3D pixels called voxels. Voxels are the best way to represent 3D textures. Because beside X and Y axis, they also have Z axis, which gives them height. Just like 2D textures, where number of pixels affect their quality, the same goes for 3D texture, where number of voxels affect their quality too. Now we show this 3D texture using voxels. If we show it using only pixels, it will look somewhat like a cloud. But if we use voxels, it will look much closer to a real cloud. We know that voxels are the best way to show 3D textures, but why couldn't they properly show a cloud texture? To show a cloud texture correctly with voxels, we first need to understand one of the voxels' features. Pixels and voxels are different in their features. Pixels have color and transparency, and voxels add volume to that. With this feature of voxels, we can show a cloud by placing voxels with more volume where the cloud is denser and voxels with less volume where it is less dense. Repeating this gives us a cloud that looks more natural. This way, instead of building clouds one by one, we can use just a single 3D noise texture to create endless clouds. But how can we display them on a screen? To render a volumetric cloud, we need three things: a light source like a sun, a volumetric cloud, and a camera to see it. This camera renders an image at 9020 by 1080 pixels. But to keep things simple, we'll change the resolution to 16 by 9. To render volumetric clouds, the camera first sends a ray into a cloud. As the ray enters, it moves step by step, gathering information about the density at each point. Then a ray from a light source is cast toward that step. This light ray also travels through a cloud, losing intensity at each step based on the density. And finally, the brightness of the first step is calculated, and this process is repeated for every step until we get a single pixel. And to render the entire image, the computer repeats this process for every pixel. And this is how a volumetric cloud comes together and is rendered on the screen. And remember, this process has to happen at least 30 times every second in games.